Hey there, I'm DPadGamer, and this is a video looking at Easter eggs in Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. Just be warned that, technically there will be spoilers, so if that bothers you, go play the games and then come back. Or don't, I won't know. Anyways, in the first Pikmin game, Olimar crash lands on a mysterious distant planet, befriends a race of plant-like creatures, and leads them on a very interesting journey full of smacking walls and beating up giant bugs. In terms of Easter eggs and or secrets, the first installment only has a couple of bits. Firstly, if you hold down on the D-pad, or 2 button if you're playing on the Wii, Olimar will lie down on the ground. In response, any nearby Pikmin will try to pick him up and bring him to one of the onion ships. While he won't get sucked up and converted into fertilizer, he does cause a large firework to shoot out from the onion, so that's pretty neat. Also, when booting up the game, there's 4 different jingles that can play alongside the Nintendo logo. Mostly you'll hear Pikmin saying Pikmin, but there's a small chance you'll hear them going woo, sighing, or whatever the hell that's supposed to be. Moving on, in the second game, Olimar returns to the distant planet in search of treasures to pay off debts that his employer, Hocotate Freight, incurred after an attack by a ravenous space bunny ravaged their Pick carrot supply. On this venture, he's joined by newcomer Louie. That said, fun fact, Olimar's home planet of Hocotate gets its name from the address for Nintendo's corporate headquarters in Japan. Also, in Japanese, Olimar is called Orima, which when rearranged spells Mario. To go along with that, if you rearrange Louie's name, you get useless. Dang, language is crazy, isn't it? For real. Here's another neat attention to detail. Whenever you boot up the game, a bunch of Pikmin form the title. While it might not look it, the title screen is actually playable with the following inputs. This works on both the GameCube and Wii versions, though I'll just list off the GameCube inputs because I'm biased. Pressing the L button will cause the Pikmin to break apart and reform Pikmin 2. It basically acts as a refresh for the scene. Pressing R will make them rearrange to spell out Nintendo. The real fun though comes in with either Y or X. Y spawns in an iridescent flint beetle while X spawns in a red bulborb. With either on screen, C up moves the creature forward and C left and right allows you to turn them. The flint beetle just sort of exists. But with the bulborb, you can press Z to munch on some Pikmin. Any Pikmin eaten will stay gone until the title screen is refreshed, so until then, you can live out your fantasy of being the bad guy, I guess. On the topic of bugs, there are small insects called Ujidani, I probably said that wrong, it doesn't matter, which can only be found in the Wistful Wild every 30 days, starting from day 1, so day 1, 31, 61, 91, and so on. These little mites can fight back with poison, but rarely do, so really they're just a very rare treat full of nectar and Sprite. Sprite? And spray. Also, I should mention, in case you don't know, that the distant planet that these games take place on is either our Earth or an alternate version. One of the many ways this is conveyed is through the game's various treasures that have real-life equivalent. The nutrient silo is literally a jar of Skippy's peanut butter, and a bunch of bottle caps feature the logos of 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, Yoo-Hoo, Treetop, and so on. There's also a series of batteries, which are branded National High Top in the Japanese version, and Duracell everywhere else. Actually, a lot of the brands featured in this game vary depending on localization, but that's besides the point. Getting a bit meta, a number of the treasures allude to, or outright are, Nintendo products. There's the Glee Spinner, which is a GameCube's joystick, and then there's the Stone of Glory, which is my personal favorite. The Cosmic Archive is a Famicom disc for the Japanese game called The Mysterious Mursame Castle. And there's also a Game & Watch handheld, specifically Ball, which was the first in its series. And then there's the Remembered Old Buddy, which is just the head of Rob, accompanied by his 5 colored gyros. And then there's the Prototype Detector, aka a Love Tester, which is a novelty toy made by Nintendo way back in 1969. The last 3 noteworthy treasures directly reference the Mario series. There's the Flame of Tomorrow, which is a box of matches branded with Bowser's face. The Decorative Goo is a tube of Mario Paint branded paint. And then the Unspeakable Wonder closely resembles Princess Peach's gem-encrusted crown. Now, before moving on from talking about treasures, I'd like to briefly bring up the Pikmin 3DS game called Hey Pikmin, because that exists. It's a 2D sequel to the third game, in which you also collect some treasures. 3 of them reference past Nintendo games. The attention-getting logo is a Game Boy Color cartridge of Link's Awakening DX. The Tempting Vision treasure is a Super Mario Land cartridge, and Inevitable Tragedy is a Super Mario Bros. NES cartridge. By the way, the log that accompanies Inevitable Tragedy is Olimar's grim interpretation of the game based on the image alone, which is pretty great.
The man this chronicle is presumably about is a very tragic figure. He seems to be simultaneously running up against a brick wall, falling to a fiery death, and menaced by a sort of reddish-white, wriggling larva. With so many insurmountable obstacles on all sides, he can't be long for this world. May you have better luck in the next life, my mustachioed friend.
Switching things up a bit, as you may know, Pikmin 2 and 3 both have a special attention to detail when it comes to music. First off, in Pikmin 2, there's 2 different situations where you can hear the musical Easter egg named after composer and Olimar voice actor, Kazumi Totaka. After completing a cave with all treasures collected, you'll get some nice celebratory fireworks on the tally screen. If you wait here a bit less than 4 minutes, Totaka's song will play like so. On the flip side, when attempting to enter a cave with no memory card plugged in, waiting another 4-ish minutes will get you a sullen version of Totaka's song. Continuing on with that topic, the game's characters can sing depending on the situation. If you're leading 20 of each type of Pikmin, they'll sing the first line of I No Yuta, which was the song used in the Japanese commercials for the first game. Also, if you have any other number of Pikmin while in an area with no treasures left to be collected, they'll sing the first 6 notes of the game's leitmotif. Over in Pikmin 3, if you're joined by 20 of every Pikmin type, they'll sing part of the game's theme song. Also, if you have every type of Pikmin unlocked and 100 Pikmin of a single type in your squad, you'll get a little tune that sounds sorta like this. Oh, and the game's 3 leaders, Alf, Brittany, and Charlie, have their own song you can hear whenever they're running around without Pikmin. As you might have gathered based on the lyrics, it's a sort of national anthem based on their home planet of Kopai. Bonus fun fact, Nintendo was founded in 1889 as Nintendo Karuta, with the goal of producing Hanafuda playing cards. The characters that make up Karuta, which I'm probably saying wrong, can also be read as Kopai. Switching gears completely, there are a number of ancient drawings depicting Pikmin in various situations throughout the game. Let's go on a quick sightseeing tour starting with the formidable oak because why not? In the tunnel leading down from the top of the oak, if you use the game's camera feature, you can spot an engraving on the pillar of the reinforced wall, depicting a couple of frantic blue leaf Pikmin carrying a pellet. Down near the ship, on a large rock west of the cave's exit, is a blue bud Pikmin swimming. And back up at the top of the oak, on a rock east of the geyser, is a blue Pikmin sporting a flower creepily floating in some water, which is pretty neat. Over in the Garden of Hope, the first rock Pikmin drawing is on one of the boards where Brittany was originally trapped, the next is inside the bucket that you cross over when heading to the boss's arena, and the last one is found in the pipe where the blue onion is found. In the distant tundra, we have this drawing on a can to the west of the landing site, another in the tunnel just to the east, and then this final one hidden away on a metal sheet in the northwestern cave. The flying Pikmin drawings can be found throughout the Twilight River, like this one underwater on this pillar, another inside the large green pipe that you pass through while riding a lily pad, and then finally on the bark of the tree you pass by on the way to the boss's arena. Finally, we have the Tropical Wilds. Hidden just out of sight, the leaf version is on the wall of the waterfall overhang where the peach is at, if that makes sense. The next is under the bridge built on your very first day, and then inside the hollow tree stump, which is accessed by one of those really dumb seesaw blocks. I left this last drawing for last, because this area is a stone's throw away from a secret data log as seen here. Spread through the game and in sort of hard to reach locations are 10 secret data logs, each containing a single digit. Their purpose was at first a mystery, but it was eventually revealed that the 10-digit code could be entered on the webpage found at nintendo.co.jp/pickpicksecret, which requires you to use the Wii U's internet browser. As a reward, you get a short video log recorded by Captain Olimar. There is a video log for each of the 5 locations, and you'd only get one of the 5 codes at random, so fans had to work together to uncover them all. Altogether, the logs add up to be about 4 minutes long, but there is a lot of fluff, so let me just give you the cliff notes. Each start out with Olimar introducing himself in his weirdly deep voice, and in the Garden, he explains that Hocotate Freight is in debt due to the company's president, and he's returned in search of treasure to help pay off that debt. In the rest, he introduces himself and then reiterates that it's his 3rd time here and he never gets tired of looking for treasure. And then in the Wilds, he mentions finding a mysterious key, while at the river he explains that due to some sort of bug in his file management software, a number of his data logs have gone missing. Oh, and in the Tundra, he complains about feeling the cold through his shiny spacesuits. The wonders of corporate cost-cutting measures. After those opening lines, in the first 4 logs, he's interrupted by Louie getting attacked by various creatures, often to the detriment of nearby Pikmin. His log at the Oak is a bit different, explaining that while surveying the area, he came across something gold and shiny. Rather than cutting to Louie being useless, Olimar mentions that Louie spoke out about coming to this area, and that he hasn't seen Louie in a while, even though Louie is sneaking around in the background. The gold and shiny thing he mentioned is none other than the Plasma Wraith that captures Olimar, which also acts as this game's final boss. So that means that Olimar came on this venture with Louie, but all Louie could do was get Pikmin hurt and or killed, flees with the Hocotate ship after Olimar is captured, crash lands in the Garden of Hope, and subsequently flees with the Kopai crew's Juice and Rubber Ducky after being saved by them. That said, there's an additional 6th secret log recorded by Louie that was found on the aforementioned webpage by Norm Christensen. A link to the full source in the description if you want to watch it, but the gist, however, is that Louie believed he had been captured by the Kopaites, feeling relieved he managed to make off with their food and treasure, all while the Quaggled Mireclops looms behind him. I didn't mention this before, but there is also a unlockable cinematic in Pikmin 2, called Louie's Dark Secret, where it was revealed that there was no ravenous space bunny attack, he just ate all the Pikmin carrots and falsified reports, which led to the company's huge debt and thus the events of Pikmin 2. So he's the bad guy, right? We can all agree on that? Anyways, we reached the end of the video, so it's outro time. I would like to thank my channel members for their support, with especially big thanks to Christy Kunter, Pseudonymous Jermanger, and Achilles Rhodes for being superfans. Also, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you want. That's it. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully, bye. Alright, okay, cool. See ya. Alright, bye.